Anybody need an agenda?
Chief?
Hello, everyone. We are meeting today. The Board of License Commissioners, October 18th, 2016. You want us to wait, Jay, or?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We'll wait. Before we start, I'd just like to read the open meeting law. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. With that, we will open up. We do have a 6 agenda item. We have one addendum that was added on late yesterday afternoon. It's a charity, so I see no reason why we can't add it on. It's the only charity that we will hear today. It'll be the first item. And with that, I'd like to call Carl Wright. This is the Boy Scouts Troop 6 from Howe's Neck, and they're here to get a special use permit for the pumpkin
Chunkin.
The pumpkin
Yes.
chunkin.
Good afternoon, Board. My name is Carl Wright. I live at 17 Edison Street. I'm one of the assistant scoutmasters for Troop 6 out of Quincy, down Howe's Neck. This will be our second year doing a pumpkin chunkin. What we do is we built a trebuchet last year, and we launched about 200 or 300 pumpkins out into Pageant Field. We already have the permission from the Parks Department for it. This year we also built a slingshot. We're going to put some targets out in the field so that the children can bring their used pumpkins when they're all carved up and launch them up to the field. I'd like to get a special permit. Use permit.
It's 10 to 2 on, what's the date of it?
The date is November 5th from 10 to 2. We probably won't be out of there till 6 by the time we clean up all the pumpkins.
That was going to be one of my questions. What happens to all the pumpkins? That's
Yeah,
good.
well, last year we took 2 small trailers out, and I think one went to the city yard, and then another one went out to a farm, to a big farm.
Okay.
I believe it was either Easton or Taunton where it went to.
Pat. So can I just see the flyer that you have?
I have one for everyone if you want.
Sure. Very nice paper too, Carl. You didn't spare any expense, did you?
They were donated from the correction department.
Just for the record also, we do have Captain DeBona, who's well known on this board, sitting in for Chief Keenan today. And we have Joe Newton working in place of Cindy Mann. So this is a big test for Joe. We're going to quiz him later. Before I open it up to the board, any members of the audience have any comments, questions regarding the pumpkin chunkin? Again, it's November 5th. Bring your leftover Halloween pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns to Pageant Field, 10 to 2, and launch them with Troop 6's tree bucket and giant slingshot. What is it?
Trebuchet.
What did I call it?
Tree bucket.
Tree bucket.
Tree bucket.
It's pretty cool. So,
You're taking all precautions for public safety?
Yes,
Keep them down
we'll all be cordoned off. Last year we had a couple of dog walkers go over to the fence and yell at them. When the pumpkins come by, they go on. They go quite a distance. They cover almost the whole field when they launch it.
now there was an episode of this on Modern Family with Cam doing a pumpkin chunkin.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen it?
No.
No? Okay. Didn't go over too big.
No?
You have experience, so we're excited. So, board members, any more comments, questions? Yeah, I've already spoken to Kyle about food and the permits that he has to get through my office, so we're all set on that.
Sounds like a fun event.
It is. We had to close it off early because we had so many people in line. Just couldn't, we didn't have enough for our equipment. We never expected that many people to throw pumpkins.
And it's $5 to launch a pumpkin, right?
Yes.
Okay.
This all goes to pay for all the boys that go to camp that can't afford it.
It's a great, great cause. We're very excited for it.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of the Boy Scout Troop 6 House Next special use special permit for launching pumpkins. Pumpkin Chunkin, Pageant Field, November 5th from 10 to 2.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of Troop 6 of Howe's Neck to have a pumpkin chunkin up at Pageant Field on November 5th from 10 to 2. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Kyle, you're all set.
Thank you very much.
Good luck, okay?
Yes.
Since we have no other charities, we're gonna go right down the line on the agenda. I hope it's in order. Cindy always had it in order. Let's see how Mr. Newton does. Agenda item number, actually, we're not gonna go right in order. We're gonna start right at the beginning. Here regarding the status of the Motor 2 and garage repair license issued to K&R Auto Body, 1200 C Street, Mr. Brandon Bergstrom. And this is represented by Pat Foley, right, Attorney Pat Foley.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the board. My name is Patrick Foley, and I represent K&R Auto Body. We're here today to seek to increase the amount of cars that are on their lot from 15 to 25, and also increase their hours of operations from 7 to 5 to 7 to 9 p.m. We originally started this process right before the 4th of July. After hearing valid concerns and issues from Councilor Forrest, everybody agreed that the best approach for this was to wait a couple months, work on some issues, and come back in the fall. Through my client's hard work, Councilor Forrest's leadership, the advice from the city, and the help from the police department, everyone can agree that every issue that was addressed, every issue has been addressed, and every concern, every question has been answered by my client. We worked with the community. We had a community meeting a couple weeks back that was, I thought a lot more people would have attended, but the turnout was it late that night? Yeah. My client is a very ambitious young man. He was born and raised in Howe's Neck. Since he was a small child, watching his dad work in the same shop, he knew he wanted to own that place. He started working as a young child under his father, and then eventually owned the business. He's also investing in the community even further, but he's actually in the process of buying the building, which leads us to why we're here today. Spending the money to buy the building, increasing it, the amount of cars from 15 to 25, makes it economically feasible for him to buy the building. Having more cars and more business on his property means he has to increase his hours.
What were the hours again?
They were 7 to 5, we're looking to increase it to 7 to 9 p.m. We believe a lot of good can come to the community from this. By having 10 more cars on site, chances are Brandon's going to actually have to employ a couple more employees. That's probably going to be a local person that can work for his auto body shop. This is essential for him to remain competitive in ever global economy right now with all big businesses. It's good to have a small local business in the neighborhood that can service everybody that lives in that community. I mean, the stories you hear about him, the amount of people he's helped is too numerous to count. So I hope that you guys can take our suggestion and give us your blessing.
Okay, so currently right now you have 15 cars. You're looking to increase that to 25, and you're looking to go from 7 to 5 to 7 to 9.
Yes, sir.
So before I open it up to the board, does any members of the audience have any comments, questions, concerns? If you do, just please come up, and Attorney Foley will step aside and just state your name and come on up, and we'll hear what you have to say. Councilor Forrest.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to be recognized for my presence here. I think Attorney Foley really repeated a lot of what I wanted to say. When this initially was brought to the board's attention, there were a lot of violations on the property. I will say he's done a great job cleaning things up and addressing them. We had parking infiltrating the neighborhood, tow trucks being parked on side streets, and it was really impacting the quality of life in the abutting neighborhoods with a lot of complaints coming both to members of the board as well as myself. So once we had an opportunity to work with Brandon, he was very responsive. And I just wanted to, I know that some of the comments that came to me were also submitted to the board. There was a concern about 9 o'clock being in a residence A. I think one of the neighbors expressed concern that they thought when the conversation came about, what time, how we, how these hours of operations, a lot, what Brandon had pitched was when people are getting home from work and they're running late from work, we need to stay open and expand those hours. So that was one concern that a couple of the neighbors expressed was 9 o'clock as far as the closing time. I think that we walked the site, I was impressed with when he removed the debris, like the canoe and tires from the back roof, that we really cleaned up the front. We did a really fantastic job with a property that Jay probably could have had as, borderline on our blight issue, really becoming a lot of aesthetic improvement. So the lot size, with how he was able to navigate the storage of vehicles. I know we had some issues with equipment being stored on the property, broken car parts being stored on the property, and I think he's addressed those as well. So those are just a lot of the challenges that we had when this case began. So that's, thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Seeing none, I'm going to close that end of the hearing. I do have 2 letters here. The first one is an anonymous letter written to the Quincy City Hall Licensing Board. Is this some kind of joke? The hearing for K&R Auto Body, we found out, is postponed to October 4th. The bulletin not delivered until October 6th. Nothing changed at K&R other than new tar driveway. The big truck has been parked everywhere and it is open all strange hours. Every teen vandal in the neighborhood goes in and out of there. No one wants their car or house keys in their hands. Leopards don't change their spots. Deny the petition, you get what you earn, and that is anonymous. We also have a letter dated September 12th, dear Ms. Crispo. I have, what's that one? I have contacted before about K&R Auto Body, 1200 C Street. I believe we cannot allow the business to enlarge car number, street unloading, and other requests. There is another auto body shop 30 feet away. The area cannot support any change. Mary Jane Cohart. And those are the only 2 public comments that I have received.
Mr. Chair, the
Yes.
first one was anonymous, right?
Right.
Okay, so they didn't put their name, okay.
So, board members, any comments, questions?
I'm glad to hear that you cleaned the property up. I think there is a fine line between a junkyard and an auto body shop, so I make it part of the condition on record that keep the place clean.
Absolutely.
Presentable.
Absolutely.
Because you are in the residential neighborhood.
Understood.
Going by what Councilor Forrest is giving her approval, so I'll be inclined to vote for this.
Chief Barron.
I've been by and visited your operation a couple of times as you've been before the board. I know how hard you work. I know how difficult that business is to be able to make a profit. Every time I go by, I think you have your hands on something, so it's difficult for you to even stop to talk. But I have noticed it being cleaner, so I would be inclined to approve this. But I would just caution you, as you're working later in the evening, that you consider your neighbors. Certainly if you're in the spray booth painting, you're not going to be creating a lot of noise, but I know occasionally you work outside of the confines of the building, so the metal work can make a fair amount of noise, so just please continue to work with the council and be courteous.
No, I don't plan on working outside after all, like late, like if it's like 6:30, 7 o'clock, usually I just come inside and I close the doors halfway. If there's something loud about, then I usually wait till the next day.
And we made the point to community, anyone that, I said, he's there morning, noon, and night, any issue, grab him, talk to him right away, he'll fix it.
And again, we can extend the hours, but we can also roll them back if we have issues.
Absolutely.
Okay? Ms. Crispo?
Did we get a drawing for the parking lot?
Did you see the drawing, Mr. Did
I actually visited the site, as you know, I was
Yeah,
comfortable
we've
with
been down there. And you're comfortable?
And on that drawing too, it's not stacked, that's actually with the setbacks and everything, and I guess I could stack if I wanted to, but I'm not. I'm just, that's the setbacks and all that.
Can we keep this for the?
Yeah, absolutely.
Board members, any other comments?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of K&R Auto Body to increase the number of vehicles on site from 15 to 25 and increase the hours from 7 to 5 p.m. to 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., represented by Attorney Pat Fuller.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of the Motor 2 and Garage Repair License issued to K&R Auto Body, 1200 C Street, Mr. Brandon Bergson, represented by Pat Foley, to increase from 15 to 25 cars and to go from 7 to 5 to 7 to 9. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And just remember, if something doesn't work out right, we can always bring you back in and then go the other way, okay? We really want you to be successful down there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay. With this. So let's see. This is going to be agenda item number 5. Thank you. Very good. Hearing regarding the request of Epicurean Feast, 1385 Hancock Street, for a common vicular license. This is the Stop and Shop cafeteria, and Mr. Russell Queen.
Correct.
How are you, Mr. Russell?
Doing well, how are you doing?
Very, very good. You're here from Epicurean Feast. You'll be taking over the cafeteria at the Stop and Shop headquarters at 1385 Hancock Street. And the hours are 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. And the proposed manager is going to be Chris Fenn.
Correct.
We have all of the necessary paperwork. We have the check, his workman's comp. Bruce Knapp was there on 9/27. William DeCarli was there on 9/24. There are no changes that are going to be made to the
Correct.
property on the inside. You guys do a great, Epicurean Feast does a great job. You've been in a couple of our corporate cafeterias in Quincy for many, many years, down in North Quincy area. So all of the other paperwork is in order. The serve safe emergency contact form. Boom, boom, boom. And that is everything. You have experience with Epicurean Feast?
16 years.
16 years has worked with Epicurean Feast, okay. Any members of the audience have any comments, questions? Seeing none, I'll close and open up to the board. Chief Banners.
Thank you. Did you make one of our inspectors respond?
I did, yes. The maintenance facilities folks over at Apple are in control of the hoods and the fire extinguishers. They're going to contact the proper people to get the hoods clean and back on a proper schedule, and the fire extinguishers taken care of as well.
I think the fire extinguisher just sort of slipped by.
Yeah, there was one that was, all of them had the updated 2016 tag on them. One was missed. It was in a obscure area.
But those grill coats need to be done.
Yes, they haven't been done since May, so yeah, they need to be done.
Do you have any idea how long it's going to take them?
I don't, I know they were contacting them today to get it going. I would assume within the next week or so they would be on the books to get done. I don't have a definitive answer today of that. I can get it for you by tomorrow though.
I'd like to get that answer. I'll have one of my inspectors call you.
Yeah, sure. You can my number, yeah. You can call me tomorrow morning. Yeah.
Okay.
We can approve this if we do pending final inspection of the fire department. Board members, any other comments, questions?
Yeah, the hoods are controlled by the building itself,
Yeah.
not by the current piece. And so the company that we're taking over from, hadn't had that done, so we'll take care of that.
Well, it doesn't preclude you from taking over.
Yeah, no, just something was missed along the way, so we'll take care of it when we figure it out.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of Epicurean Feast, 1385 Hancock Street, for a common victular license at the Stop and Shop cafeteria between hours of 7 to 2, Monday through Friday, with the manager being Chris Finn, represented by Mr. Russell Queenan, and contingent upon approval of course.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of Epicurean Feast, 1385 Hancock Street, for common vicular license, the Stop and Shop cafeteria, represented by Russell Queenan, and it's pending final walkthrough of the Quincy Fire Department. All in favor?
Aye.
You are all set.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
There you go. We have agenda. Which one is this? D&D Deli. This is agenda item number 3. Hearing regarding the request of Dennis S. Lane, DBA 711, number 1503B, 678 Adams Street, for transfer and change of location of the retail wine and malt package store license presently held by Ronald Lucio, DBA D&D Deli, 101 Liberty Street, represented by attorney John Iada. This actually came before us over a year ago and was denied, and this is a second application after we've had a second look at it. We've waited the proper amount of time before he can reapply, and that is why we are here now.
Good evening, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, John Iada, 18 Russell Park in Quincy. With me is Dennis Lane. Before I start, I have the water notification affidavit, as well as the signatures on the public hearing request form.
And this was advertised in the
Quincy Sun.
Quincy Sun on October 6th.
Mr. Lane is the owner-operator of 7-Eleven at 678 Adams Street. He's been the owner for 41 years at this location. As Mr. Shealy indicated, he was back in front of this board a little bit longer than a year ago on an identical application for a transfer of a wine and malt beverage license from D&D Deli at 101 Liberty Street. We feel that we have some additional information, additional support we believe from the neighborhood and the community, and I will get into that. Mr. Lane, in addition to the owner, operator, is also the proposed manager of record on the license. This store is a 2,700 square foot store. There are 28 parking spaces at this location, and the overall space, square footage of the store that will house the beer and wine is approximately 20% or a little less than 20%. So about 1/5 of the store size will be attributed to the beer and wine sales. It's a decent sized store, again, 2,700 square feet. The board has the duty today of examining the qualifications of the applicant and discussing the applicant itself in terms of the issues of public need. There's many factors that go into that in order for the board to make the determination on whether or not to transfer this license to this new location. One of the key factors, and we'll spend some time on, is the character and fitness of the applicant, Mr. Lane. As I stated before, it's over 40 years as a business owner and operator at this location. He is present owner, he's there all the time, he's very accountable, both to the city as well as to the neighborhood. He's developed many relationships in the neighborhood. He has many long-standing and regular customers. Essentially, Mr. Lane is part of the neighborhood. He's part of the fabric of that neighborhood. It's hard not to after 4 decades in service. He runs a tight operation, a clean operation. He's had no prior violations for lottery sales or tobacco sales. The location itself is very well lit. It's open to the staff. They have good visibility of all locations where the beer and wine will be housed, which as you enter will be on the back wall and the back left wall corner as well. They have a security system in place. They have video surveillance both interior and exterior. So again, it's very open, very visible to Mr. Lane. When he's not physically there, he still has the ability to observe things. There are always 2 to 3 staff members on and employees on at all times. The wine and beer will be locked up during the hours that are not permitted. Essentially, this is a 24-hour 7-Eleven, so obviously there's almost as many hours that will be locked up as they will be for sale. Essentially speaking, I think you're going to hear from some members of the audience as well, in addition to his fitness, but he essentially is a qualified applicant. I would argue to say for a new applicant, he's probably one of the most qualified that the city would have in terms of his reputation and his past business experience. Another factor to consider is the views of the inhabitants, the views of the neighborhood, in terms of determining whether there's public need or public want. For many years, the customers have been asking Mr. Lane to add beer and wine sales to the store. And Mr. Lane has had the opportunity now, in terms of a sale and purchase of this license, to be able to do so. He feels it would be an added convenience to his customers. Again, probably more so than not, customers are coming out looking for a one-stop shopping convenience to that. This is an additional product. This is how Mr. Lane treats this. Of course, it's been treated very seriously in terms of its seriousness being alcohol, but it's an additional product that he's hoping to capture his customers that are already there, and to have that convenience for his existing customers. He doesn't foresee too many people coming just to this location to buy beer and wine. There are other locations, for that service. He again believes it's something that his existing customers will be able to use and benefit from. And in fact, they're the ones that have precipitated this. They have been approaching him for years about the possibility of obtaining the license. If they want to, on the way home from work, if they're stopping in to grab a couple different sundry items, they can also pick up a 6-pack of beer or a bottle of wine for dinner. Speaking again about the public need, in the views of the inhabitants, is the support. He's received much support in this application from the neighbors. Overwhelming support. I think a majority of his customers that have expressed interest in it have said it's a great idea. He's had very few, maybe one customer that said they were opposed to it, but the overwhelming majority have been in support and have asked about that, and certainly over the past year has asked about the progression of things and what if anything has changed, and what's going on with that license. In the file, there was in the prior application there were 200 signatures in support from the residents of Quincy. There's over 100 signatures of the residents in Milton due to its proximity on the Milton line. They do receive a lot of Milton residents there as customers as well. There are over 120 letters in support. Of those, it was the support of Councilor Brian Palmucci. We've reached out to Brian Palmucci. He's still in support of this application. We've had discussions regarding that, and he still favors this application as the Ward 4 councilor. We also reached out, I reached out to Councilor Ian Kane of Ward 3, which is across the street, and Mr. Lane also spoke to Mr. Kane. In my conversations with Mr. Kane, he wanted just pretty much information about what's going on and to get the back history of that. In his early conversation yesterday, or it might have been Monday, with Mr. Lane, he indicated that, quote, it was a Ward 4 issue and he was staying neutral on this. So my understanding is he was going to be neither in support nor opposition on this application, and indicated that, again, it was a Ward 4 issue. The Ward 4 councilor, again, is Brian Palmucci, who is in favor of this application. The larger issue that the board last time had presented was some of the traffic noise issues. Again, in terms of noise, I don't think there would be any increase in noise per se. In terms of traffic, first off, the parking, as I stated before, is 28 spaces. It's more than adequate to accommodate any traffic that goes in, any customers that go in. The 28 spots is more than adequate. It would not necessarily cause any traffic congestion because of parking issues. An operation like this, based on its size, I think would normally be zoned to have like 10 or 12 spots. This is more than double of that. We engaged Jack Gillen of Gillen Associates. I have a report here I'll hand out to conduct a traffic study with a trip generation assessment. It's a 2-page report, and I can kind of point out the highlights. I just received this today. So it's dated today. And essentially in this report, well, first of all, Jack Gillen of Gillen Associates Transportation Realm, Planning, Design, Administration. He served as the Director of Traffic and Parking Department here in Quincy for approximately 15 years. He's very knowledgeable in the traffic impact studies and his analysis. He's very well respected. His report, essentially some of the key issues, if I can just point out. He felt that initially, because Mr. Lane was simply adding another product, that other trips to potentially other locations, i.e. across the street or to other stores further away, would be reduced. Essentially what he's indicating is that they'd be combining stops into, again, one-stop shopping. So he did point that out, that it would potentially decrease traffic for that reason. Again, Mr. Lane indicated that his intention is to capture the existing customers. This is not anything that he feels that he's going to bring outside people in. And to show that he's serious about that, he's willing to not have any advertising regarding the beer and wine and no external signage regarding the beer and wine. Again, so this is something that he feels is very important. He's not looking to have neon lights, neon signs, or anything like that. He feels that he's a great customer base, and he wants to give back to that customer base by giving this added convenience. Mr. Gillen goes on in his report, acknowledges that yes, it is a high volume of traffic that comes through this area, but he indicated that the Adams Street, Beale Street intersection was redesigned approximately 3 years ago. It's his opinion that has resulted in a better traffic flow. Again, as discussed about the parking lot, Mr. Gillen goes on to state that it is, quote, underutilized. So essentially there's no issues with parking. It's more than adequate. And he does not feel that any traffic would back up onto Adams Street in terms of the parking issues. He also was of the opinion that during peak hours, the traffic would flow, I'm going to call it south, but essentially south on, he called it southeast on Adams. The flow that comes from Adams Street, Beale Street, Stebbing comes southbound, and he feels that if they were to stop in, it would likely continue in that same direction, resulting in less congestion. In other words, cars are coming in, they're coming off the street, and they're continuing on in the same direction. It may even reduce congestion, he stated, in Wallaston and other stores off of Beale Street. Essentially, his conclusion was any increase in traffic would be de minimis, essentially be a minimal impact, and that it may even reduce any congestion in other parts of the city. So we agree that there is traffic there, it's high volume, there's about 14,000 cars at any peak hour. But the way it is, if it were to be there, it ultimately cut down potentially on traffic stopping, taking a left to head into other establishments and the like, and which would also have a residual effect of backing up on that intersection on Beale Street. We felt it was important to have the study, and we hope you take that into consideration. Just lastly, in terms of the day-to-day operations, Mr. Lane currently employs approximately 10 employees. If this license were approved, he would precipitate the need to probably hire 2 to 3 more employees. As I stated before, there are always 2 to 3 staff members at all times. The important thing to note is that all staff members, all of them, would be tip certified and trained. And again, only product would be sold during the permitted hours. The customers, each and every customer would be asked to produce an ID. He has a POS system that at the time now works with tobacco. It can be easily configured that any product that is beer or wine would precipitate the need for that clerk or salesperson to have to check the ID, put a valid driver's license into the system for that sale to go through. And that's what he will intend to do. So he already has a system in place for extra safeguards and securities. Essentially, Mr. Lane has been a responsible operator, a responsible neighbor, and he has overwhelming support of the neighborhood. And so you'll hear some more as I sit down. I'll have Mr. Lane just briefly add anything he'd like to it. But I ask that the board act favorably on this application and approve the transfer to this location. Mr. Lane, would you like to add anything?
I'd just like to thank the board for giving me a second opportunity to come before you. And what I'd like to say is I've grown up on that corner. I was 24 when I bought that store. The kids that were catching the school bus in the 70s and 80s are coming in with their kids now. Nobody is more protective of that neighborhood than me. So I've watched people grow up. I've grown up on that corner. And I believe that I have a tremendous amount of loyalty to the city of Quincy. I think I'm the only corporate sponsor for the Quincy Police Cops and Kids program. I work very, very closely with Lieutenant Minton on community issues. He came to me when some stores were having cosmetic cleanliness, just looking horrible in the neighborhood. I went to those franchisees. I'm president of the New England Franchise Owners Association, so I reached out to those stores. We had some security issues, and Lieutenant Minton asked that we expend some resources and put security cameras that are linked to the police station into some of our locations, and I facilitated that. I've sat down with the chief and Lieutenant Minton at headquarters, police headquarters, and talked about neighborhood issues and how do we make Quincy a great place to live. And so I think I've paid my dues. We have a payroll. It's hard to believe for a small store like that. My payroll is almost $250,000, and with all of the changes in minimum wage, and on November 2nd, a proposal is going to be made at the State House increasing minimum wage to $15 an hour over a few years in Massachusetts. How do we remain more profitable so that I can hire more? And I hire from the neighborhood. 90% of my employees are Quincy folks. They're hired from the neighborhood. And I pay well, and I want to keep on hiring from the neighborhood. So how do I protect my profitability? How do I protect my bottom line? So we've been asked over the years, hey, wouldn't it be great if I could grab a bottle of wine? Wouldn't it be great if I could grab a six-pack? So we're not doing this because we just woke up one morning and said we want to sell beer and wine. We're very sensitive to what our customers ask us to do. We sell Irish candy because the Irish folks in the neighborhood said, will you stop bringing in? I import Irish candy. I sell Irish newspapers. I serve that community. And that's why we want to sell beer and wine. And I'm openly making this commitment to the board. There will be no outside signage, and there will be no advertising. We want to offer beer and wine to the customer base that we now have, and we're very, very responsible. So I don't know what to say other than the fact that I think that Quincy's my second home. I do an awful lot to support. I give out thousands of coupons through the Cops and Kids program through Lieutenant Minton and his staff to make sure that some of these kids who the only meal they get is in school, and they get a coupon good for a hot dog or a sandwich or a Coke. And we do that willingly and gladly. We've actually brought some of our asset protection people up to meet with the chief and say, how can we make Quincy a safer place? How can we make our stores safer? How can we make the neighborhood safer? So you have my commitment that I'm not going anywhere. People will say, well, you're going to get that license, you're going to sell the store and leave. I wouldn't know what to do myself. I've been doing this for 43 years. I'm going to do it for another 43 years. So I'm just asking the board to give me an opportunity to be a responsible beer and wine retailer, and it really will embellish my ability to keep hiring from the neighborhood, improve my profitability, and give back to the community. So with that, I just want to give some of my constituents who are here, with your permission, an opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Any members of the audience want to come up and have any comments? Just state your name for the record and your address.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, honorable members. For the record, my name is Attorney Jack P. Milgram. My office address is number 1 Billings Road in Quincy. I just want to state that I've known Mr. Lane for approximately 40 years. I know him to be an asset to the community. I know him to be a successful businessman. There's no question in my mind that he would be a responsible provider of alcoholic beverages, beer and wine. I do agree that I think the majority of people that would be purchasing from him would be people going into the store to purchase other goods. I don't see it as a destination solely for alcohol, beer and wine. I just ask that you look favorably upon his application. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, my name is Attorney Jeffrey Frankel. My home is 76 Harborside Road in Quincy, Mass. My office is at 40 Willard Street in Quincy, Mass. I've been practicing law here for approximately 5.5 years. Down the street from Dennis, I met him virtually immediately upon coming to the neighborhood. He's always there. He's watching his place. His business is spit polished clean, except for the few times that I try to use the Slurpee machine, which doesn't go all that well. His employees are young, they're energetic, they're well-trained, they're courteous, they're polite. The parking lot is immaculate. There's no one he doesn't support. No organization can come to him and say, hey, can we use your parking lot? And they get a no. Whatever they want to do, he does. He supports the DARE program. He's already mentioned he supports the police department. He's as responsible as anyone I've met in business. Not only do I think he would be a responsible retailer of beer and wine, I think he might be the most responsible retailer of beer and wine that you have in the area, maybe in the city. He knows his business inside and out. He knows everybody else's business inside and out. He knows what he wants to do. He doesn't bite off more than he can chew. That intersection is often a disaster. And I think that disaster is a lot of times caused by people coming out of Atlas trying to make that ridiculous turn. They're lined up. If 5 cars a day don't go on that direction and stop at Dennis's place to pick up their beer on the way home and keep going on down Adams Street, I think it'll help the traffic. I don't see how it hurts it. Going left is always going to be impossible, but that part right there where Atlas meets the Adams is a nightmare, and I think this would actually make it better. I can't think of anybody I would recommend more highly than Dennis to have this opportunity to increase his business, to increase his workforce. The kids that work in there are great. They remember you, they're fun, they do their job, they're very, very motivated. So I'm highly in support of Dennis and his application. I would ask that it be granted. Thank you.
Hi, Wayne Bresnahan, 15 Doble Street, Quincy. I've been going to Dennis's store for a long time. I know I can go to the other 7-Eleven, but I just don't want to. I don't trust myself with that area, you know what I mean? I like Dennis a lot. I, do business with him, and I know during, like in the winter or anything like that, and you have a snowstorm, you have a friend. You can always find a place if you can't get a meal or bread or something. You can always go to Dennis's place and get it, because he is open, you know what I mean? He stays with the community very well. I hope you people consider Dennis, and he's been waiting a long time to get this. And I don't see any reason why he shouldn't get it, Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Barbara Gargan, and I'm 44 Campbell Street in Quincy. I'm a retired nurse. I'm mostly a pedestrian, and if I want to go and get a bottle of wine, if I have guests, I almost take my life in my hand trying to cross the street to Atlas City Liquor. Those 2 lights, the one on Furnace Brook and Adams Street, and the one right in the corner where that 7-Eleven is, are not in sync. So, oftentimes you get drivers who do not obey the law to stop for pedestrians in crosswalks. So by having, beer or wine at the 7-Eleven, I will feel safer when I make my purchases. I've been a customer of Dennis Lane and 7-Eleven for 41 years. And I cannot say any more than he is a wonderful person. His employees are great. They're very responsible. Always with a pleasant smile. I think it's great that there's both surveillance in and out, because you know how teenagers are. Hey, oh, you're over 21, why don't you go in and buy me a beer? Well, there's surveillance, and they'll be trained, and that won't happen. And I know that because that's the type of person Dennis Lane is, and I really would like you to consider this application. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Mike Coggin, I'm Bob's husband, 44 Campbell Street, and I'm retired also from the PO. I work nights, I work evening into nights, so at least 5 or 6 nights a week, I'd be at 7-Eleven, 1 in the morning to 3 in the morning, depending upon how long I stayed. And it was safe as could be. At least 30% of the time there was an officer on the premises, either Quincy or Milton, doing business in the store. But I never saw anything happen there that was out of it. Even the people that worked there knew what to do. And you actually develop a little group of friends, about 6 or 7 guys that work the same type of job, and you talk and stuff like that. Also, in regards to Dennis, a lot of people don't know the blizzard of '78. He made a deal with the National Guard. They could use his freezers. The National Guard would go get milk and bread. And he was the only store that was open with anything. And he ran a tab on everybody, even if he didn't know you. That's the kind of guy he is. Okay?
Good evening. My name is Kazioniki. I live at 23 Fairview Road in Quincy for more than 30 years. And almost from beginning, I became a customer from 7-Eleven, and from that time I met Mr. Lane. Each time I was there as a customer, I was treated very well, and store and parking lot was found, I found in superb condition, always clean, pleasant, and in good shape. Since they became in a working age, both of them went through the employment at Mr. Lane's, so with my neighbors, and I'm pretty sure hundreds, if not thousands, other kids from neighborhoods went through the same thing, being employed in that store. Like somebody mentioned, I will be happy, very happy picking milk or what might be small miscellaneous newspaper. I'll be glad to pick a bottle of wine or 6-pack, and I don't see any problem with this. And I don't think it will create any traffic or inconvenience to neighbors or generally traffic problems, because just about across the street is a big liquor store, Adams liquor store. So whoever wants to purchase bigger amount of alcohol or different alcohol goes right there. And whoever goes to liquors, to 7-Eleven for small purchase, that's the time probably somebody will pick a bottle of wine or 6-pack. So I don't see a problem with any traffic or any inconvenience to the neighborhood. Thank you very much. Obviously, I'm supporting with all my heart this application.
John Orfeld, 62 Grandma Road. I have a question for the board first. Are there any stores in Quincy right now where you can buy alcohol in a convenience store where they're commingled?
Yep.
Well, what's another example?
7-Eleven on Franklin Street.
The 7-Eleven on Franklin Street. My issue is just the fact that Atlas is there. If people want to get liquors, they can go to Atlas. Let's just say, for example, I find Atlas is never the cheapest, okay? So 7-Eleven could beat them on price, and therefore it could be the cheapest place in Quincy. And if it is the cheapest place in Quincy, it will drive more traffic to that area. So traffic will depend on what the prices are. Whether it's advertised or not, people find out what the prices of alcohol is. So it's all about convenience. It's about let someone go into 7-Eleven and let it be more convenient, let them get their snacks, their candy, their cigarettes, their blunt wrap, and their alcohol. I mean, I have a concern, basically, his premise is basically he needs this to basically make more money or to survive in the economy. I mean, it's a great 7-Eleven. I do give you credit. That's one of the best 7-Elevens around. It's a very well, I feel it's very safe there and stuff, but it's definitely very profitable. Let's say in the future, medical marijuana is accepted all over the place. Is he going to come back and say, do I want to sell marijuana there? I kind of like to keep things separated. Kids can go into the store and they can steal stuff. It gives people an opportunity to alcohol that they don't usually have. One of the main things we do up here is give people the right to drink more outside of premises. I like to see more constriction on alcohol in the city of Quincy, not less. And so, I will say that I am against this. Thank you very much.
Any other members? Seeing none, I'm going to close this portion. And before I open it up to any board members, I'm just going to put my 2 cents in. Dennis has been there an awful long time. Anytime I've ever gone in the store, Dennis was always in there. His employees are absolutely fantastic, courteous. I mean, Dennis does a super job. I actually think this will alleviate some of the traffic, especially for some of the reasons that were stated. You don't have to cross over and then come back out. So, I mean, I am going to be in support of this. So with that, I'm going to open it up to any of the board members that have comments, questions.
I too, sorry, go ahead.
I've known him for 38 years since I've been here, and Chief Koenig himself has told me he's been an awesome supporter of the police department. So I'm in total support of Dennis.
Director Duca?
Yeah, I had the benefit of reading the traffic report, and it does look like that traffic will not be an issue, noise will not be an issue. And from all accounts I've heard tonight about your involvement with the community, I'm quite impressed, and I'll be supporting this.
Chief Bannon.
After our last vote, I did hear from some of your customers that were unhappy with my vote. Hearing from other customers this evening and your excellent reputation, hopeful that you're able to keep the minors from the scenario that the woman from Campbell Street did mention. Cameras, I think, will help. My other concern is traffic. We have great difficulty at times, rush hours getting through that intersection with our trucks, particularly coming up Beale Street. But probably you're not going to add to that, so I would be voting in favor of this.
Thank you.
I'm in favor too.
So I do have one question,
Certainly.
Dennis. I saw that you have coolers for the beer, coolers for the wine. They're gonna be locked at
Yep.
appropriate hours. You're gonna be selling any, I know, like a white wine doesn't, or some red wines don't have to be chilled or anything else. Are you gonna have any wines that aren't gonna be locked up in the cooler, wines that aren't gonna be in a cooler that during the off hours when you can't sell it, you'll have a secure location that's locked to put those?
And that's a good question. They'll be on a gondola with a, a wine rack. So at night they have these heavy chain metal wraps that have locks on the
Yeah.
bottom. They'll be totally 100% covered.
Same things we see.
So it'll be a room temperature, but again, it's still lockable.
Still lockable. That's all I want.
I'm not going to risk my reputation
Yep.
by making it accessible to children.
Excellent. All of the other paperwork is in order. For Dennis, we have the green cards back. Bruce Knapp was out there on the 14th. Bill DiCarlo was out there on the 14th. And I have no other questions or comments. I was going to take a roll call vote earlier. I think I'll just take a regular normal vote. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of Dennis S. Lane, DBA 711, 678 Adams Street, for a transfer and change of location of the retail wine and malt package store license presently held by Ronald Lucio, DBA D&D Deli, 101 Liberty Street, represented by Attorney John Iada.
Second?
Just before I finish it, I do want to just say that I did get a letter also from Lieutenant Dan Mitten, who is in complete 100% support of it
Thank you.
also. I'm not going to read the whole letter. We've heard from everyone else that is in support. So, motion made and seconded to grant the request of Dennis S. Lane, DBA 711, number 1503B, 678 Adams Street, for the transfer and change of location of the retail wine and malt package store license presently held by Ronald Lucio, DBA D&D Deli, 101 Liberty Street, represented by Attorney John Iada. All in favor? Aye. You're all set.
I won't let you down. Thank you. Thank you all. Thanks for your trust. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I won't let you down. How are you?
Yeah, I hear
I got a flat tire in this parking lot when I was a kid, when he was doing construction, and he didn't pay for the flats. So,
Agenda item number 1, this is the hearing regarding the petition for new stockholders and transfer of stock from Long Pond Garden, 47 Billings Road. Andrea Core, the paralegal. So this is a paperwork transaction that has to go into the ABCC. They're having new stockholders. This was advertised in the Quincy Sun on October 6th. We have both checks that we need, one for the city, one for the ABCC. It's basically being, they're adding an additional stockholder to the company, and you can explain the rest to us, okay?
Of course, yes. My name is Chris Coleman, by the way.
Chris Coleman?
Chris Coleman on behalf of the applicant.
Okay.
Like you said, it's just a stock transfer, a new shareholder. The two current owners are each selling 5% of their shares each, basically. So Mr. Chen, who holds 30 shares, is going to be holding 25 after the transfer. Mr. Zhang, who is also a shareholder who has 60, will now have 55. So 10%, Mr. Lee, by the way, I neglected to introduce him, 1 Lee will be the new shareholder, and he'll have 10. So in the end, it'll be 25, 55, and 10. He's also going to be a director. It actually won't be a director, the officers are going to remain the same.
Any comments or questions from the audience? Seeing none, we have all of the other paperwork is in order. emergency contact forms, all of that is here. Boom, boom, boom. Board members?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion regarding the request, to grant the request of the petition for new stockholders and transfer of stock from Long Swan Garden, 47 Billings Road, Andrea Core, paralegal, represented by Chris Coleman.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to grant the request for the petition for new stockholders and the transfer of stock from Long Pond Garden, 47 Billings Road, represented by Chris Coleman. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You're all set. Thank you very much. This is agenda item number 4. Hearing regarding the request of Jansen Zen Yi, DBA Fusion Kitchen, 7377A Franklin Street. Jason Zen Yi, the manager, for the transfer of the common vicular all alcohol restaurant presently held by E&M Restaurant Inc., represented by Chris Coleman. Again, just for the record, this is the common vicular all alcohol restaurant license presently held by Alfredo's on Franklin Street. So why don't you give us your presentation?
Of course, again, good afternoon, everyone. Again, Chris Coleman on behalf of the applicant. It's Fusion Kitchen, Inc., DBA Fusion Kitchen, will be at that location. Just a little bit about the location. It's a little better than 3,800 square feet. It's 120 seats are proposed. The occupancy there currently is 160. There's 2 lounge bars currently in there, 15 seats at each. Asian cuisine, it'll be Japanese and Chinese offerings. There'll be sushi as well. Minimal renovations. It's mostly going to be cosmetic and kitchen, actually, where probably more of the activity will take place. But for right now, the layout's going to remain the same.
I love hearing things being done in the kitchen.
Jason Yee is the proposed manager. He's got excellent restaurant experience. From 2006 to currently, he's the manager of Fusion Taste, and that's in Arlington. They also have a liquor license. From 2013 to present, he's been the manager of Fusion Taste in Stone. He's a U.S. citizen. He's TIPS trained. He'll be there 40 hours plus a week. On-site alcohol training is proposed for basically all the staff that's going to be touching it. He'll be resigning. He can't be the manager everywhere, so he's going to be resigning his 2 locations. He'll be down here full time. And I think that's currently all we have. Be happy to answer any questions.
I saw the app, he plans on spending 40-plus hours a week at the location.
That's
so
correct.
That's a really good thing. Before I open it up to the board, anybody in the audience have any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, we'll move. Board members? I do have all of the appropriate paperwork. Again, it was advertised on the 6th. All of the Corey checks have been done. The checks here for the city and for the ABCC are here. We also have the emergency contact forms. And the hours of operation are going to stay the same?
Correct.
And when you talk about work in the kitchen, are we going to be putting some woks and stuff in there that way there? So when you do that, make sure that you do check with the building department, especially when you're pulling permits for the woks with regard to grease traps and things of that nature. How long do you think you'll be closed for, if you're going to close during renovations or whatever?
A couple of months.
A couple of months? Board members, other questions?
Have you got any permits right now? Are you doing any work in there? I understand they did some fair amount of demo in there already.
Nope. It's
No?
completely
Okay.
operational. I was in there the other day.
Oh, okay, sorry.
It's actually operating still as Alfredo's today.
Oh, yeah, very good.
Any other members of the board, comments, questions? I hope you do a really good job down there. It's a nice location.
Thank you.
Board members, what's your pleasure?
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of Jensen Zen Yi, DBA Fusion Kitchen, 73-77A Franklin Street, Jason Zen Yi, manager, for transfer of the common victular all alcohol restaurant license, presently held by E&M Restaurant Inc., represented by Chris Coleman.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of Jason Zenyi, DBA Fusion Kitchen, 7377A Franklin Street. Jason Zenyi, the manager, for the transfer of a common vicular all alcohol restaurant license presently held by E&M Restaurant Inc. Chris Coleman, attorney. All in favor?
Aye.
You're all set. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
The agenda item number 2, hearing regarding the request of Olivia Store Corp., 1183 C Street. Teresa LaFamme, manager, for the transfer of the retail all alcohol package store license presently held by Ann Corp. Teresa LaFamme. Come on up, Teresa. How are you today? So you're going to buy the House Neck Liquor Store? Okay. So why don't you tell us your plan, okay?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. 12 years ago, when my wife and I got laid off from Analytics Corporation, and we tried to open the bought the liquor store in the C Street, and saying that we are very proud to ourselves that we keep the rule, everything perfect good, never break the rule, and so. Also, the neighbor on way to support us because we live together with them very well. And right now, I just retired from the company, so I have the plan to move on to another state because I got the broken bone here, so maybe not good for the cold weather. To prepare that, we try to transfer the business to my cousin. And to do that, 6 months ago, I asked her, she very happy to do that. And she come to my store to working part-time. And we
Train and learn the business.
Yeah.
So you currently own it and you're selling it to your cousin?
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. And you work there currently now?
Yes.
That's even better. Obviously, you know someone on the board. And it's not me.
Friday nights.
So you have liquor store experience. Okay.
Yes.
Any changes going to be made on the inside?
No,
Nothing.
everything the same.
All good.
Anybody in the audience have any comments or questions? Seeing none, we do have all of the appropriate paperwork filled out. It was advertised on October 6th in the Quincy Sun. We have workman's comp information. We have the 2 checks, one to the city, one to the ABCC. We also have Paul McCarthy was down there on 9/27. Paul Anderson, one of my new inspectors, was down there on 9/27. And everything else is in order. Board members, comments, questions, concerns?
Mr. Chairman, for the record, Councilor LaForest regrets that she couldn't stay longer at the meeting. She has talked to the applicant who's been helping with the store, and she expects the transition to go seamlessly, and she's in support of this.
Thank you.
Having said that,
Let's go.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of Olivia Store Corp., 1183 C Street, Teresa L. Lee Pham, manager, for a transfer of the retail all alcohol package store license, presently held by An Corp., represented by Teresa Lee Pham.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of Olivia Store Corp., 1183 C Street, Teresa La Pham, manager, for the transfer of the retail all alcohol package store license presently held by An Corp. Teresa La Pham is going to be the manager of record down there. All in favor?
Aye.
You're all set.
Thank you
Good luck,
very much.
okay?
Bye-bye.
The last item on the agenda is a extension of premise for Candy's. What number Washington? What number Washington?
14.
This is Mark DeBona from Cagney's 214 Washington Street for an extension of premise. He is before us for a couple of one-day extension of premises. He came before us about a month ago, and we granted him an extension of premise permanently to his outdoor patio. The outdoor patio will be open from Patriots' Day until Columbus Day. Columbus Day is just passed. He is in the process of just finishing up the exterior of the property. We're still waiting on the final approval for a permanent outdoor extension of premise from Patriots' Day until Columbus Day. That does not preclude us from allowing him to go out there on one-day extensions prior to us getting the approval from the ABCC. That is the reason why he is here before us today. So why don't you tell us what your plan is, Mark?
Okay, so we're just about done. I know a couple of you stopped by and checked it out. Construction is probably gonna wrap up this week. Looks great, everything's well ahead of schedule. Everything's going good. So what we'd like to do if possible, obviously weather permitting first of all. If it's miserable out, we're not gonna do anything. But we had a request to do a fundraiser on Thursday, October 27th, using the courtyard for that. And then we were hoping to do a little bit of a launch that weekend, maybe a Friday, Saturday, or a Saturday, Sunday. Probably mostly during the day because the weather may be a little bit chilly at night, to kind of christen the courtyard, let my staff get a little feel for what it's gonna be like to have indoor service, outdoor service, that type of stuff. The other 2 days that we were talking about, and I talked to Councilor Forrest about it and some other members of the community about possibly doing something on Thanksgiving morning. We do a free breakfast for all the neighborhood on Thanksgiving morning before they go to the game. So we're hoping maybe we could integrate something maybe a little outside, a little tailgate type thing with the indoor buffet breakfast, if possible. And then the last one would be on December 15th when we hold our annual Toys for Tots drive, which I know you guys have seen. We've been in the press for all that. We're hoping to maybe do a little outside thing, maybe put Santa and some dressed up reindeer and stuff outside to maybe increase the visibility and the amount that we can collect for the Marines. And the Marines will be on site for that event, as they are every year. So that's it.
Okay, so I'm going to open it up to the audience. Anybody in the audience have any comments or questions?
I'm all alone.
Seeing none, I just want to get some clarification.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we're looking for November 24th, which is Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving morning, just
Thanksgiving morning. What are we looking for? Like
probably
8 to 12?
Yeah, we usually close by
8 to 1?
8 to 1, just so we have time to clean up.
8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then we're looking for October 27th.
That would be a Thursday.
That's a Thursday.
evening.
And what are we looking for that hour?
Whatever you think. I mean,
I'll be honest. I know that you've been you're going to be going till, I believe we approved it till 11 o'clock.
We won't go that late on a Thursday.
I mean, if it's going to be Thursday night in October, I'm thinking, is 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock? You tell me what you're looking for.
Well, we've already booked it to have it in our regular function room, and they said, hey, if the courtyard's open, and it's nice, so could we possibly move it outside? I said, well, we'll see what the weather looks like, see what construction looks like, and see what the board says. So it's booked in our regular function room from 5:30 to 7:30. So again, leaving a little bit of time to clean up, I would say maybe
So
5 to
we'll
8.
go 4 to 8?
5 to 8.
5 to 8 on the 27th?
And if it's not outside, it'll just be inside in our regular.
Weather permitting.
Right.
And then you're looking for Friday and Saturday, which would be the 28th and the 29th.
I would like to do, maybe even Friday, Saturday, Sunday during the day, do like a Halloween festival. We're gonna try to decorate it up, get it, kind of launched a little bit, weather permitting.
So noon to 6?
Not on Friday. I would say Friday, like dinner time on, like maybe like 5.
5 to 8?
Yeah, 5 to 8 or 9 on Friday night. And then maybe Saturday and Sunday, maybe like noon to 8 or 9, depending on
weather.
weather.
Consistent and go 5 to 8 on Friday and Saturday. I mean, on Friday night, and then on
so
Saturday.
So Thursday and Friday would kind of be the same.
Yeah, Thursday and Friday are gonna be 5 to 8. And then Saturday, the 29th.
Saturday would be probably start, weather permitting, maybe around lunchtime, like around noon.
Noon time?
Maybe do noon to 8 on
Noon to
Saturday,
8,
and maybe noon to 5 or 6 on Sunday.
We're gonna say noon to 6 on Sunday, okay?
Yeah, because Sunday things will wrap up.
And then you're also looking for?
The 15th of December is when this year we're having our huge Toys for Tots drive. So I don't know if historically we've always collected more toys, I think, than anybody, this part of the state. So we're hoping to maybe integrate a little outdoor space. I was talking to a couple of the firefighters. We hosted an event for the firefighters on Sunday, This past Sunday, I was talking to some of those guys because they're also past Marines about, they want to get a little more involved, so we were talking about maybe putting Santa outside in the courtyard, see if we can get a little extra donations for photos, things like that. But definitely use the space. I mean, I'm
What are we
excited to
looking
try to
for?
use the space.
Noon to 6, is that?
No, that's an evening.
That's an evening?
That'd
5
be
to 8?
5 to 8, probably 5 to 9 if we could, depending on how the crowd goes. Maybe
I'm
we
gonna
can-
stay 5 to 8.
5 to 8, we'll get people in early.
Okay.
And what is that, for dinner?
No, we do, we collect Toys for Tots
Toys
that
for
night. So what we do is we invite any members of the community to come down, enjoy complimentary dinner if they contribute to the drive that we're having, either cash or toys. So then the Marines come by, usually a day or two after, and pick everything up.
What is the fundraiser for on October 27th?
It's actually a campaign fundraiser for Council of Forest.
And the reason I ask,
Sure.
and we granted the extension of this premise, and we were talking about people eating out there, no music and no noise.
Correct.
So I just want to make sure we remember that that was the main reason why we granted that patio.
Sure.
So all these activities are very noble. Just want to be careful that we don't forget why we granted this in the first place.
And we can't violate the noise ordinance either.
Yeah, and you know, this is all good stuff.
Right.
You know.
Hopefully.
But I still want to be mindful.
Absolutely.
We have some neighbors.
I mean,
Yeah, I agree.
I've honestly, I know, just to speak quickly, I've copied you on a lot of correspondence with some of my neighbors about stuff that I'm trying to do to alleviate some of people's concerns, and I've hit a stone wall. Nobody responds to me about anything, with the exception of you folks. A couple of neighbors, or the only neighbor that's had some concern, has just refused to reply to anything, and I've actually talked to Jay Duker about a couple of other issues, and I'm trying to get stuff done even better for the community, the area, and I'm kind of not having much luck getting response from my abutter.
Board members, any other comments, questions, concerns?
The fundraiser, the 29th and 30th, what is that, a Friday?
No, that's just, the fundraiser's on the Thursday evening for Council of Forest. We've done, I think, one a year for the last 5 years
That's
or
October,
so.
okay, that's October.
Yeah, and then the rest of that would just be like some type of a little Halloween festival outside, beer festival. to kind of-
Dry run for what?
Dry run for
Yeah.
what to expect next year, yeah. Most of my staff, Drew has been with me forever, but this is a little bit of a new ground for us. So kind of want to work out a couple bugs and then, plan over the winter as to how we're going to best handle everything. They're pretty excited about it though.
So we're looking for an extension of premise for October 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th, November 24th, and December 15th. 6 days.
Yes, all weather permitting.
All weather permitted. Everything ends at 8 o'clock at night.
What about the 31st?
That's a Monday.
No, we wouldn't do anything outside of New Year's Eve, right? New
No,
Year's
that's
Eve.
Halloween.
Oh, no, not at all. No.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of Cagney's 214 Washington Street. But before I do that, I also want to, Council of the Forest asked me to speak on her behalf. She regrets she wasn't able to stay here. She's walked through the site and she's impressed with the work that's gone on thus far with the patio.
Thank you.
And she supports the request as well.
Definitely, everybody should stop by and take a look. The guys from Nichols have been doing outstanding work, better than I anticipated.
So I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of Cagney's 214 Washington Street for an extension of premise, 6 one-day extension of premises for October 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st, Thursday, November 24th, and December 15th. All events to end at 8 p.m. November 24th will be from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. All other evening events will be from 5 o'clock to 8 p.m.
The Saturday and Sunday will be daytime though, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday will be 12, Saturday will be 12 to 8, Sunday will be noon to 6.
I wish I brought a pen, I can't remember all this.
I'll write it, I'll get it.
Shoot me over an email.
Second.
So we have a motion made and seconded to grant the request, and I'm gonna read off the dates and the times, so that we're all set. Motion made and seconded to grant the request of Cagney's Restaurant, 214 Washington Street, for 6 one-day extension of premises, represented by Mark DeBona. Those days are October 27th, 5 to 8, October 28th, 5 to 8, October 29th, noon to 8, October 30th, noon to 6, November 24th, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., and December 15th, 5 to 8 p.m., and these are all weather permitted. All in favor? Aye. Mark, you're all set, all right? Good luck.
Awesome, thanks guys.
Hopefully we'll hear from the ABCC before that.
Yeah, keep me in the loop
Yeah.
and please
Not yet.
feel free to come down and take a look and see how.
Do I
it
have a
works.
motion to accept the minutes from the previous meeting and waive the reading?
Motion made.
Motion made and seconded to accept the meeting. All in favor? This adjourns the meeting. Thank you.